Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den, the subscription service. I am so excited. Every time I get on here, I'm just so excited because I'm liberated in this space, and this content that is for this subscription service is completely different versus Earthen's Den main platform. And I promise you guys that you're gonna literally enjoy this, because if you enjoy that, then you're really gonna enjoy this. So this episode, I'm gonna be talking to you guys about the things that I've learned at 24. And when I say at 24, of course, it's not at this specific age. Like literally, I've only been 24 for like 2 weeks, a week or so, So it's not entirely 24. It's just the things that I've learned up until this point. First and foremost, let me just say this. It is okay to change your perspective. It's okay to change your ideas about certain things. I think sometimes when we grow up, or if you even are on a platform, you can completely relate to this. Like if you're a musician, or if you're an artist, or if you're an influencer or whatever, when you start out, you may have started younger, right? You may have started younger. You may have started last year. And sometimes we feel like we have to stick to certain things when we've always been riding by that. And that's not true. As you learn, you're going to grow. And so your perspective, your ideas are going to change. And you're going to find that a lot of the things that you were so hell bent on, those things don't really matter. You're going to find yourself in a space where certain things you used to feel like you were so passionate about, you're like, oh man, that stuff, or you may feel like there were certain things that you really believe, like you used to believe that you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that way. And then you get older and you realize, oh crap, I can totally do it that way. And so I think giving yourself the grace to grow is so important, because I know for myself, a lot of times you feel like a hypocrite. A lot of times you kind of feel like a little lost within yourself. You start to feel like, oh man, can I trust myself? You kind of have a mild identity crisis, right? Because you're like, man, I always did things this one way, or I always believed this one thing. And so when you come into a different space of enlightenment, you're like, oh yeah, no, I don't rock with that. I don't identify with that ideology. And that's okay. The second thing is take your own advice. And when I say take your own advice, please hear me clearly. I'm going to give you the guys this example in regards to my book Seasons and how I did this whole thing. So you guys know I wrote my book Seasons 2020, right? The year of clarity. Your girl was really going through a lot of things in my life. And it's funny because those hard times, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say I got addicted to the hard times, but when they showed up, I actually had a little bit more excitement, right? Because it was like, I literally knew that something great was going to come from it. So it was crazy how I was when it came, I actually became very fond of hardships. I loved being able to just sit down and just work things out and sit with myself and go through the motions and work through my feelings and really confront a lot of things that I've been neglecting. I really have learned at this point, and if this pandemic has taught us nothing else, I know a lot of people have been replaying the same message, but this is real. I really feel like the reason why we don't have self-awareness, the reason why we don't have spiritual enlightenment, the reason why we just don't have certain understandings about ourselves, the world in which we live, the people around us, is because we're always on go. I'm working at my job and it's every day. Honey, it takes a toll on me. And when I thought about it, I said, this is so interesting how when we are in the labor force, you don't really have time. Right? It's one thing when you're working towards your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, your visions, right? Because I think that at that point, that's a more preferred route. That's what you want to do, right? And that's why I said when it came to writing my book, I wouldn't look at that as hard work, which I had to kind of shift that mindset anyway, but that's a different conversation. I didn't look at it as hard initially because I loved it, right? I loved it. And so for me, it was more so I was able to take the path of working hard and getting this project done, but also being able to explore myself and have that just overall identity, self-exploration. You don't get that when you're working on somebody else's job and you're doing it every day, right? One of the things I can say about that too is it's really hard to have time and make time when you're working a job. You got to deal with all these energies. You come home, you're not really looking, sometimes work can be so draining that you're actually not in a space where you even really have time to create or you want to create, right? Depending on your hours, you may get off midnight, you may work third shift. Like, you don't really have that. And I think in today's society, we've really created this myth of like what entrepreneurship and what this whole journey actually looks like. First of all, it's harder than it looks. But secondly, man, that takes a lot. It takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of willpower, because it's not like you're working a job where you maybe in a cubicle. Like, I know for me, I'm dealing with other people, their energy, their spirits, and a lot of it's kind of evil. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just be straight up. So moving forward, you guys, let me just say this, because I kind of got off the topic. But do things your own way. And when I first wrote my book Seasons, I didn't have a marketing plan. I didn't have a marketing strategy. I didn't write my book with the intentions to make money. I wrote my book with the intentions to channel everything I had been through up into my life into this beautiful project called Seasons, which I feel is very timeless, and it can help a lot of people, because I was able to channel everything that I had gone through in my life. And it wasn't necessarily all day-to-day to childhood, but I took bits and pieces of the pain and the stories, and I channeled them in a way that really resonates with everybody in life. We all have seasons of joy, seasons of hardship, seasons of cultivation, right? And so I did that, and I did it in a way that was poetic. It was fun. I believed solely in my project. I believed in what I had to say. I believed in the messaging in my book, in my words, because first of all, I knew that it was true. I didn't do it to get money. I did it because it was real, and I loved it. And after I was writing on my blog, I said, I got to finish this up. I no longer had a desire to write on my blog. I think mostly when I look back on that, it was insecurity. And this is gonna be a good episode. So just sit tight, okay? Get you some tea, get you some wine, get you some water, okay? And sit tight, just sit right there. Listen, after all of that, right? Okay, so I finished my book. I didn't have a marketing plan. People are like, oh my God, like you didn't have a marketing plan. Like, what are you gonna do with your book? Let me just say this, because I believe solely in my book, I made $1,000 the first month with no promo. I made $1,000. At that point, I knew that I had something special. I knew that what it was that I was doing, I knew God was on my side. And so the reason why I say take your own advice is because I'm so tired of these people showing up, telling you how to run your business, how to start this, how to start that, when the truth is that anything you do for the first time in life, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to have a plan. And let me tell you this too. So many people actually sit around and their services suck, but they're never going to be able to venture out and learn from that. Because let me tell you this. When you're an entrepreneur, understand that entrepreneurship is not just starting one business and going on about your life and living happily ever after. Entrepreneurship is doing multiple things, figuring out what is going to be the one business that actually hits and makes you that million. And then from there, you got to get creative and keep generating that income, because what happens? You want the Benz, you want the house, you want the family, right? And you've shown yourself that this is possible. I have the gifts, I have the skills, I have the resources, but as we know, and today it's fluid, right? Digital content, digital marketing, all of these things are booming. So you have to find a product and service that has longevity. And you will never know that in entrepreneurship. So that's why I think for me, I'm really passionate about this. And the more I learn about it from my own experience and learning from others, of course, is I understand the reality of entrepreneurship. I think that a lot of people think that it's just some, okay, giddy, whatever. And that's not true. I've seen fashion designers burn out. We've seen it. Tech companies, like entrepreneurship is a lifelong thing. It's continuous. And I think that you have to be somebody who's innovative. So to me, when it comes to taking your own advice, know that what you have within yourself is enough. And it's you who's going to be able to guide you to the next level and to be able to create an income for yourself. That's why in the beginning of Earthen's Den, I stressed the importance of self-development, right? I believe that my podcast is actually listed under self-development because I'm so passionate about it and I understand the importance of it. And I just think that right now, we're in a world where everybody's like, oh yeah, you got to have a business plan. It's really not that complex. It's really not. Listen, you set an intention, you're passionate about it. You're serious. You take yourself serious. You're freaking committed. You're going to make it happen, because let me tell you something, how the mind works. I love the mind. When I made up a decision to get in a relationship, I said, I was tired of dating. And this is funny because I'm very young, But I was like, I kind of want to just venture into a different space. I started reading my Bible. I got close to God in regard to like the biblical practices and the Holy Spirit, right? I told you I started my my spiritual journey with meditation and things like that. So I got closer to God, and I was like, I'm kind of tired of dating. Like, it's a little ghetto out here. I knew that what I had was something serious, and when I say something serious, I mean just the essence of who I was like, I was that girl, you know what I mean? And so for me, it was like, I'm kind of tired of putting my heart, my time, my energy into the hands of people who just don't have a clue. Like, that's not what God has called me to. So I knew that, God wanted me to be married. Like, God wanted me to have a husband. So I was like, okay, we're going to do this husband thing. I got a little baggage. I literally, in my mind, once I figured out that God wanted me to be married, I literally started doing research on relationships. My mind just went there, and I was able to really get into a space where I started to strengthen myself. I started to learn new things about how to treat a good man. What does a good man look like, right? So the point that I'm making, you guys, is that anything you want to do, if you just commit to it, you're serious about it, you can totally do it. But the thing is, it's going to take a little work on your end. But that work is different for you, okay? It's different for you. I had to work to create a book and figure out how to write the book, right? I had to work to design it, and I had to stay focused on my intentions. And of course, like I said, we talk about like the external work, designing it, finding the editors, things like that. But overall, you see the success that I was able to have. And of course, this is me gauging my success on how I view my success. This is why it's so important to have your own sense of like self in today's society, because a lot of people say, oh, that wasn't successful. You could have made 10K in a month. Please, child. I ain't wrote a book a day in my life. Okay. I haven't wrote a book a day in my life, honey. I don't have no degree. And when I say this, listen to me clearly. Like, I'm not saying, oh, these are my limitations, so I could not make 10K a month. If I wouldn't have, I probably could have did that. You know what I mean? But here's the thing about myself, and this is why I say take your own advice. Learn your lessons. Pay your dues. Learn your lessons. Pay your dues. Girl, I would have made that 10K, been out here. Girl, I'm still working on my finances, okay? Still working on how to get a bag and not blow it, okay? Like, I really believe in just taking that time to just be cultivated. Allow yourself to grow. Back to point number 1. Give yourself grace to grow. You don't need it right now. I was very thankful with my 1K that first month with no promo. I was very thankful. And so take your own advice, okay? Stop procrastinating and do it. Go out and do it. And don't listen to nobody else's strategy. Girl, you ain't trying to be an influencer. You ain't trying to be the next video vixen. So why are you listening to them? What are you trying to do? If they're doing what it is you're trying to do, then okay, by all means. But if that ain't what you're trying to do, then shut the door, okay? And learn for yourself. That's the thing. I know for a fact, actually, in today's society, we're just so focused on trying to get to the next thing. Like, learn your own lessons, because everybody's life is different, okay? Point number 3, do not tell your dreams to anybody. I'm going to make a whole nother episode on this because, honey, I don't want this to go over for an hour. This podcast will be an hour if I was to tell y'all the whole tea on this, but I'm going to try to sum it up in like 5 minutes. Don't tell your dreams to anybody. Coming out of college, I had big dreams. I started to listen to motivational speakers. I started to watch videos about wealth and understanding. I started to immerse myself in a whole wide array of books. I really wanted to expand my vocabulary. And, it's funny because my intention behind that really was I was fearful, right? Leaving college, I was afraid that people would think that I wasn't intelligent. So I really immersed myself, and I worked very hard just on developing myself, my mindset, and my articulation. So overall, I was like OD with the books, but I actually grew to love reading, right? I grew to love reading, and that's where I started to discover my desire and my love for learning. So I started to let life be my teacher. And a lot of the things that I've learned definitely the hard way. I didn't get it at first when they would say, don't share your dreams with everybody. Your dream is your baby. You got to protect it. I didn't get that. That I missed that message. I missed that seminar. I was not in the conference, honey. I was not on the attendance sheet. I was absent. I was absent, honey, when they was playing that one back. So I literally told everybody my dreams, the things I wanted to do, and they completely shot it down. They completely boo-booed on it. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you just got to be confident in yourself and have your dream. And, if somebody boo-boos on your dream, you just didn't believe in yourself. Oh, no, girl, I had had the belief, I had the power, girl. I was confident. I was like, I'm gonna make this happen. Girl, don't you know I told that dream to so many people? Girl, they shot it down, honey. At that point, she was like in the ICU. And then one more shot down, girl, she was dead. Like, there was no revival. Okay, there was no revival. She was shot dead, honey. And so it took a lot to actually work back up the confidence and the courage to build and believe that that can happen. Now, the opposite side of this, too, in regards to dreams deferred, understand that you never really lose your ability to dream. Like, you never really lose your ability to dream. It's just that the dream may look a little different later on in life. But the point that I'm making is don't tell your dreams to everybody. I'm going to talk to you guys more about this in another episode, but listen, don't tell nobody your dream. If they can't help you, don't tell them your dream. Third thing, I think we're on fourth. Fourth thing, I know we love our parents. They're great. You know, they're great. But honestly, I really don't feel as though a lot of people grew up with healthy parents. Like, it's just, I think the cards are stacked against us. The system is designed to destroy our families, especially in the Black community. Hello. So honestly, we really all come from the same household. We all come from the same kind of like background. We've all got a story that has some lineage of trauma. You know what I mean? So with that being said, don't listen to your parents. I know, I said it. I said, listen to your parents, but I'm going to say, no, you got it. You literally got it. Don't listen to your parents. Because the thing about your parents is that they're so biased, honey. They don't know you. They don't know you. Like my parents, for example, my mom is preoccupied. She's a nurse. She's a mother. Like my mom just does not have that type of time, you know, and my dad was always really focused on money. He was always focused on financial gain, building wealth, and just living his best life because I don't know. But so for me, that attention was not there. So when I come out talking about, I don't want to be a doctor, I want to be an artist, I want to do these things, my parents are like, are you crazy? You're going to be dead broke. You're going to be in New York eating out of the garbage can. And they didn't know that I was a hustler. They didn't know that I had been doing these things. And when I would get awards and certifications and I would get certain things, my parents were never there to see me shine in that light. So they actually thought that I was incompetent. They didn't really see what I was made of. They didn't know me. They didn't see my paintings. They didn't see the times where my art was in the art show at high school. They didn't see me win most improved on my varsity soccer team of one semester. Okay, they didn't see me in these lights doing these things. They didn't see me bouncing back from certain things I had went through in my life because I didn't tell them that I had went through these things in my life. You see what I mean? So your parents don't know you. So you can't listen to them. You know what I mean? You can't listen to them. You know, and I wanted to go and do journalism. My dad was like, what are you going to do? You're going to be dead broke. You know, you need to go to school to be a doctor. He didn't see that I literally was in AP English, literally acing that, A+ every freaking semester. You know what I mean? I never failed an English class a day in my life. I always had, I kid you not, A's. If the least, it probably was an A-. And I knew I could always count that A on that, what do they call them? The report cards. I knew I could count on that A, honey, because I knew, my thing was this too. This is funny. I always would set this intention to get B honor roll. I think it was because I never felt smart enough to get A honor roll, which was dumb. But we can talk about that later on, y'all. We can talk about that later on. It's going to be good. Just stay tuned. But I didn't think I was smart enough to get A honor roll. So I would always strive for B honor roll. And I would always get B honor roll. And so I knew I could always count that A in English because I get that C in science, that D in math, you know, A, B, C's, and all the electives, honey, and I made that 3.0. So that was how I would do things. And see, they didn't know that. You see what I mean? So the reason I say that is just, that's real. That's real. So you can't listen to your parents because they don't know you. And if you had parents who were attentive, maybe they do know you. But I can tell you right now, a lot of people want you to take the path in which they're taking. This is how I know, because I want people to take the creative path and live life freely. And that's the path that I'm taking right now. If I was a doctor, I'd probably say, you need to really be a doctor. Like, you would love it here. You know what I mean? Because I love it, right? So I think that just by nature, that's what we do. Like, we want people to have what we have, especially if it's peace, love, and happiness. So you want to be mindful of people who don't have that, honey. You got to start looking behind that door. You got to look, when I say behind the door, get up in that spirit, girl. Look behind that body, that external, because a lot of people want you to be where they are. You see what I'm saying? If people are miserable, They want you to be miserable. If people are in a happy married relationship, girl, you know your girls be hooking you up. Girl, they be like, look, you got to meet this person. Or you, now I've never had that experience, but I heard about it. And, in movies, it sounded good, right? So people are like, you got to meet this person. You got to do X, Y, and Z because I want you to be here with me. I want you to be happy. And if they're miserable, they're going to say, oh, why are you trying to go do that? Well, you want to be an artist. Oh my God, girl, you are so crazy. You see what I mean? Because I'm miserable. Why would I want you to go and be happy? Oh, I don't want that for you. No, I don't have that. Why would I want that for you? Are you dumb? Like, why would I want that for you? So you got to be mindful of what's behind that door. And number 5, biggest lesson. Oh, you can do it by yourself. You can do it by yourself. I spent a lot of time trying to build a team when I didn't have crap. Like, I don't know why I did that, but I spent so much time trying to build a freaking team on zero foundation, or even though I felt like it was foundation within myself, like I've always been pretty confident within myself, but you can do it by yourself. And I think for a very long time, I used to think that because my dreams were so big, I needed people now. But I can say that when you show up for you and you focus on your craft, you focus on perfecting, or let me not even say perfecting because, well, yeah, I'm actually going to say you need to perfect it. Yeah, you need to get good at it. When you focus on developing the gift, the dream for you, I think that the team will come along. And so I think that I spent a lot of time trying to outsource a lot of things, looking for other people, thinking that I needed other people to help me do what it is that I want to do. And it wasn't until recently I had an opportunity for the second time where I would be working for somebody. Because I told you I work for Black Speakers Network. Oh, girl, child, I can't wait for this service. Oh, you guys are going to love this. Like, I'm putting my all into this. And I am so passionate about talking, like, and just developing a community. And I've always had my own ideas and my own individuality. And I know a lot of people are looking for that. So I feel like this service is going to give you that, like, because honestly, that's just the energy I'm radiating. So you're going to catch it. Like, don't dip, don't duck, girl, catch this. Okay. So listen, that's enough. I'm going to just tell y'all about all that later, but I had another opportunity to go and do something else. And this was the second opportunity where I really had to assess how I was cheating myself. And I was cheating myself because these people were benefiting way more from my gifts than me. And at the end of the day, it was a bigger liability for me. It was a bigger risk for me. And when I say risk, I mean vulnerability. Like, it wasn't a risk like take a chance on you. It was more so like take a chance on them, right? And I don't think that's anything wrong with that. But let me tell you straight up, girl, I'm a little street smart, honey. I'm a little street smart. All right. So I can't move like that. I can't move like that. I done been jiggy before. All right. I done been jiggy. I done been mugged. Okay. When I say mugged, I'm not talking about in the literal sense. Thank God I've never been robbed. And I'm not here to make fun of anybody who has, because I can imagine that being extremely just like traumatizing. But yeah, so I realized like that was the second time. And when I prayed on it, and I constantly prayed on it, because I was like, this is going to put me in such a vulnerable situation. Like, is this really for me? And now, again, don't get me wrong. Like, it's still something that's kind of like in the works to an extent, but like not really. And let me tell you why. Because first of all, like I said, it was a big vulnerability for me. And secondly, I had to realize that, Jalen, what you want to do, you're going to have to put the work in. This next step, like if you really trying to do that, you got to do that for you. And so with that being said, I do believe in mutualism, but I just believe that in today's society, and not many say today's society, girl, it's just the world. Like, straight up, y'all, this is just the world. Like, it's sharks out here. It's sharks out here, and I'm young, I'm vibrant, I'm positive. I have to really protect that. And I didn't know that at first, but that leads me to point number 6, and I'm done. You got to protect yourself. Like, protect yourself. I'm only 24, but I had not realized that I used to go through life thinking that somebody was going to protect me. Maybe because I didn't have that initially, earlier on, I used to think that, I don't know. It's a little deep. I don't really want to get into that. Okay, I said I'm going to get into it. All right. Dang. Listen, initially in my life, I didn't grow up with my dad. He was there, but mostly financially. And I feel like I mentioned this, but I probably didn't. But my dad was there for me financially. So the exemplification of like what a father should be as a protector, he wasn't there. And this is why I understand, young women who decide certain things. And this is why I'm so passionate about young women, because I know the detriment that has on our psyche and how the world treats us, how we treat ourselves, how we view ourselves, and the situations that we inevitably end up in as a result of our fathers not being there to protect us. Okay. So I had to learn the hard way. But I had to get smart. I had to smarten up, and I had to realize that nobody was coming to save me. You know, that little girl, she wanted to be saved. Like, she wanted to be rescued from those situations. And I realized that nobody was coming. The rescue team wasn't coming. My daddy wasn't coming. I'm grown now, right? So I had to really get into a space where I'm like, yo, straight up, you got to get smarter. Like, or she's going to suffer, because now at this point, this is on you. And so I had to get to a space in my life where I had to recondition my mind to say, Jalen, like, no, you got this. Like, you're older now. You are enough. You're smart. You're going to be good, you know, and no, you can't see everything that's coming, but you do have foresight. You know, you do have the ability to foresee. I think that's all with women. Like, that's why I'm so passionate, because we got to recondition how we see ourselves. Like, girl, we are the light, the essence, the end, and the beginning, honey. Okay. But that's the real thing, you know? So you got to learn how to protect yourself. And when I say protect yourself, I mean, do the research, like, put yourself first in situations. Like, I'm not saying be in a survival tactic mechanism. And, you know, I'm not saying not do that, right? Because let me just be honest, like, the reality for a lot of us, we're not white. I'm dead. Let me just be honest. Black women don't have the same situations, rights, and protection as white women. So, you know, I know sometimes being on social media, it seems like you can kind of walk around like this, or you can move like that, or you can shimmy like that. But that's not the reality for us. And I'm not being a cynic. I'm just letting you know straight up. Like, let's, you know, we can dream, we can have fun, we can work till we get to certain places, but at the same time, we got to protect ourselves, you know. And I'm not saying you got to be hard as a rock, but I'm just saying you got to learn how to protect your light, you know, because it's a lot of people that will gravitate towards that, take hold of that, and choke you out. And I'm not saying you're going to die, but I'm just saying, like, you know, and I see it so happening so often. You know, that's what happened to my mother. You know what I mean? So many people will come into your life and just bite and bite and bite and bite and bite. And so you just have to be mindful. And I'm not trying to scare you, because you're smart. You got this. You're going to be fine. I'm just telling you now. This is the way of the world. Okay. So I'm at 30 minutes and I'm so freaking happy, because this was nothing but gems. And I love this so much. And play it back, man. Play it back. Like, I look forward to creating more content. I can't stress that enough. Like, and I'm so thankful for anybody who decides to get on this service, man. Like, you're going to benefit so much from this, because I don't know everything, but I know a little bit, and it's going to help you. And I'm not going to be talking specifically to just women in a lot of these episodes. I'm going to be talking to my brothers out there who decide to get the service as well. I'm totally, I get it. You know, it's $30. I get it. But, you know, I kind of read the fine print, and it was like, once you hit the price, you can't change it. And I'm like, you probably can't change it, but you really can't. So, but I also think that it's worth it though. Like, it's definitely worth it. Like, $30 a month for like this dope platform. Like, that's awesome. And like, to connect with somebody like me, I think is rare, because I don't think that you meet a lot of original people, you know, and I think authenticity is great. And so I feel like the best thing you're going to gain from this whole service is yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I think me being somebody who's authentic is obviously going to transfer on to you. You're going to want to be more authentic, and it's going to be a win-win. And that's something nobody can take from you, right? And at that point, girl, when you're authentic, girl, you're tapping into everything. At that point, it's a win-win. Like, girl, it's a whole win for you. You know, it's a W. It's a dub. W isn't dub. You know, I'm not saying dub like it's a dub. It's not. Anyway. But listen, those are 6 lessons I've learned at 24 years old. And be sure to pass it on. Pass it on. Tell them to sign up, because this service is going to be great. And make sure you guys check out my book, Seasons, at JalenLeslie.com. I'm so proud of that piece of art. And I look forward to speaking with you guys next time.